Now, the thing is, can you change a bad, negative feeling in under 60 seconds? Is that just clickbait from Cloughie, or is it real? Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't use clickbait, and it's real. And if you follow me and come with me on the rest of this episode, we'll do it together and we'll prove it together, and we'll be able to change things for the future so you can feel good whenever you want to, in less than 60 seconds. Now that's got to be good, isn't it? Anyway, if that's important to you, have a listen after this. Hey, this is the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, where we use hypnosis. Yeah, hypnosis. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Don't worry what it is. It's just a mass of processes that we're going to get you to change. Change to let go of anxiety, low self-esteem, and create massive supreme inner confidence. But that's confidence in your competence and competence in your confidence, which means you can do anything and be safe, to enjoy the world as it should be, with you at the helm, creating the life that you want. That's what this podcast is about. You, and being the best you could be, singing from your real voice, aligned with your mission, aligned with your passions. That's what it's about. So if you're interested in letting go of anxiety, if you're interested in letting go of fear, guilt, all those blooming syndromes, imposter syndromes, and every little bit of the mind which is negative, then have a listen here, because we've got some wonderful processes and lots of good conversations between you and me to get us both thinking in such wonderful ways. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Just take the chance to have a listen.
Warning. 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 You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Cloughie. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, my friends, we're back. We're back, and it's a longer podcast, all about changing a bad feeling, a negative feeling. Because I've got a question for you. Do you ever feel nervous? Maybe it was going to meet someone. Ever feel nervous like that? Maybe you're going to an interview. Maybe you're seeing your boss, your manager. Maybe it's, well, you fill in the blank. Because that nervousness, some people might say, is anxiety. And anxiety, fear of something happening in the future. See, what does it feel like? What does it feel like when you feel that? Let's call it fear. Anxiety, that nervousness. Where do you feel it in your body? A lot of people, I guess, feel it in the pit of their stomach, right in their gut. I know some people can even get it in their throat, and they find it difficult to talk. As if the words just won't come out. What does it feel like for you? Just take a moment. Just take a moment to remember maybe a time. Not a 10 out of 10, because again, we talk about don't want you blubbering. But just pick a sort of 5, 4, 6 out of 10. 10 being the worst. 0 being it doesn't even register. Pick one of those memories and just go, as I remember it now, where is that feeling? Where's that feeling in my body? And what does it feel like? I'm going to go into this deeper in a moment. But I just want you initially just to notice that, it's in my body. Because again, I think we said on the last podcast that some people tend to think that it's in the head. But it's not. Well, it can be. But 99 times out of 100, it's generally somewhere in your body that instantaneously triggers those pictures in your head. That dialogue, that inner voice, that everything that goes on to create even more anxiety. I know it has a wonderful positive intention to try to make you maybe prepared to get you totally 100% being an unfailure, if there's such a word, so you can succeed. So you're all prepared to succeed. But that nervousness that turns into anxiety and fear then gets into overwhelm mode, doesn't it? Which means then you don't prepare you just don't prepare. Which means you get more nervous because your unconscious mind wants you to really, really, really prepare to get it right, to not fail. And that's that vicious circle of where you start trying to do something and then just letting it go, I guess. You see, here's the question. All these are questions, really. Would you like to learn how to change that in less than a minute? Yeah, I know that sounds really clickbaity, doesn't it? Here's the one secret that you can change in less than 60 seconds. Well, it's not clickbait but it's actually positive. Not positive, it's positively. I'm positive that it's possible. You can change those feelings. And when you change those feelings, it changes the way you look at the thing that used to make you scared. And as we know, my little favourite saying of the month is, if you look at things differently, they are different when you look at them. And because they're different, you're in a different state. You see, you've taken your state from fear, anxiety, fear, to something different. And when you're something different, that thing that you were and used to be scared of has to be different. And if you're going to change it to a positive, then you've got to be positively different, which then gives you maybe some empowerment, maybe gives you the self-confidence to either prepare, but also have the self-confidence that you're going to do okay, providing you do your best, and you can do your best. We can always do our best, because whatever we do with our conscious intention, we can always do our best. So let's just go back to that question. Would it be of value? Would it be important to learn how to change a negative emotion into something different in less than a minute? Now, I know everyone's going to say yes, but before you say yes, there's something a little bit more important than that, because that's just your conscious mind going, I want it, I want it, I want it. And your unconscious might be going, hang on a minute. Hang on, because I'm trying to do something for you here to try to protect you from failure. Maybe protect you from feeling guilty, ashamed, or whatever it is. Why are we just going to say yes? Well, here's how to show your unconscious mind exactly the reason. And that is, what would it allow you to do if you were to be able to change a negative emotion into something positive, and that thing that you used to be nervous about, anxious about, you're now more confident? What would that allow you to do? You see, to me, because you're more confident, you'd probably prepare better. You'd be more at ease, you'd be more comfortable. Therefore, you'd feel safer, because when we feel at ease and comfortable, we feel safe. And when we feel safe, we can perform at our best, can't we? We might even just stretch ourselves. That will make the difference, that makes a difference. Maybe we might just enjoy the time until then, until that thing, that event. Whereas before in the past, you would have been worried about it. And therefore that would, all the time leading up to that event would be negative. And you wouldn't be making any bad pictures in your mind, because when you make bad pictures in your mind and you talk to yourself, what happens? Go through those pictures. They're normally, they're normally not complete either. And they're normally not what might happen. They're normally what might happen if it got really, really worse, and you exaggerate the hell out of it. And you'd see yourself crumbling, falling off the cliff, doing all sorts of silly things. You'd hear that internal voice nagging you. Oh, why are you so stupid? You got to get on this. Oh, what happens if we fail? Because if we fail, it's got to be worse. Then that feeling comes in. But think about it now. What would it allow you to do if you could enjoy that time instead of that? Just notice, if you just think about it for a moment, how would you spend that time? And also, what do you think the likely result would be as you went through that thing that you used to be worried about, used to be anxious about, used to be fearful about? When you're calm and collected and you can access all the information you want, you can prepare properly, and you haven't used a bunch of bloody energy up for no reason whatsoever. What is the likelihood of success? Yeah, pretty high, isn't it? Pretty high. Can't guarantee that, but it's pretty high. And because it's pretty high, you're probably going to achieve it. And what would that success allow you to do? So whether you met that person and got on really well, whether you went to that interview and you shone, I wonder what opportunities would come your way then. You met your boss, your manager, and you talked about that one thing that's going to make a difference to your career. Then there's that blank that you filled in. When you achieve that blank easily, effortlessly, how will that change your life? You see, I'm going to go into some sort of technical stuff. And it isn't technical, but it's stuff. And the stuff we call in NLP, they're modalities and submodalities. And basically a submodality is just a smaller category of the modality. So if it was visual, that's the modality. The submodality might be the colour, the brightness, the movement. Could be anything in that visual thing. Could be the size, the shape, the location. All of those. You imagine then, so you've got the auditory. That's another modality. What's the submodalities of that? Well, that could be the location of the sound. Whose voice is it, if it's a voice? Is it harsh? Is it loud? Is it soft? Is it whispering? What's the content of that? You see, and even when you look at feelings, and that's a weird thing to say, isn't it? When you look at feelings. But you know what I said right at the very beginning? Where is that feeling? You see, if, like when I work with a client, I'd say something like that, go back to that time, notice where that feeling is in your body, and just close your eyes and just notice that feeling. Nothing else, just the feeling. And just notice, does it have a colour? What colour comes to mind? Even if you can't see that colour, what colour comes to mind that would describe this feeling? Does this feeling have a weight? Is it heavy? Is it light? Maybe it doesn't have any weight at all. Just neutral. What size is that feeling? 'Cause some feelings are really small. Some can be big. Some can vibrate. Some can reverberate. Some can just stay heavy, like in the heavy pit of your stomach maybe. All these different things. So you can see these are all the submodalities of a feeling. So don't get lost in, don't worry about the technical bits of modalities and submodalities. You don't need that bit. But just understand that your feelings have qualities that you can describe. So let's just test it very quickly. Very quickly. Think of a time, and it doesn't have to be the one we were going to be working with, maybe the nervous one. Just think of a time when you had a little negative feeling. It could be anything at all. And if it's okay, and no one needs your attention for the moment, it might be easy to close your eyes. You could just remember that time. And as you remember that time, and make sure it's not a 10 out of 10, please, just a 5 out of 10, just so we know that we've got the right feeling and we be really precise. So go to that specific time, one specific event where you had that feeling. And when you go back there in your mind, go back into your body. See what you saw, hear what you heard. And then just feel the feelings and notice where they are in your body. And now describe them to me. I'll ask the questions and you can describe them. So just notice where it is. Is it in the middle of your body? Nearer the front, the sides, or the back? Just notice the location. Does it have a colour? And even if a colour doesn't come to mind, what colour do you think it might be? Think of the size of this feeling. How big is it? Is it like a ping pong ball, table tennis ball, a marble? Or is it like a tennis ball, just a feeling. Just notice the size of this feeling and the colour that it has and where it is. Maybe just notice, does it have a weight with that shape? Is it light, is it heavy, or is it neutral? And that colour. And as you do that, just notice, does it vibrate slightly? Does it move slightly? Or is it just, there it is? Or does it go in and out? I don't know. Just notice that. Notice everything about it, then open your eyes, come back. Let that memory disappear. And now, I want you to do something differently. I want you to think of one time when you felt really confident. Doesn't matter what the context is. It's just a time when you felt confident. Okay? So again, if you can, close your eyes. Don't have to, but if you can, it just helps you focus. Think of that one specific time when you felt confident in the past. Recall that memory and go back into that memory now, the confident memory. Go back into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel those feelings. Feel those feelings of confidence. And notice the location, because it'll be in a different place, I know it will. And notice whereabouts exactly it is. Where is the location? Notice the size of it. Is it big, small? What colour is this one? It'll be a different colour, I'm sure. Notice the colour. Does it sparkle? Does it resonate? Maybe it has a sound. I don't know. We didn't talk about sounds on the last one. But notice the colour, the weight, the shape, the light, the vibration, the frequency of it. And notice anything else about that. That exact location. Is it the front, back, middle, sides? And then when you notice everything about that, come back to me, open your eyes, and just notice. They were in two different places. They were different. And it's good, because you can remember that confident one now. It feels quite good, doesn't it? And who did the remembering? Yeah, I know I had that little process, which is only a little process. I was only the guide. You did it. You did it. And you made yourself change from the neutral place you were in to that negative place, to the neutral place you're in, and then to a good place. You did all of that. And you did it probably in less than 60 seconds, but that isn't what we're talking about in being able to change a negative feeling into 60 seconds, but something similar. You can do something similar, but it's all about just becoming aware of the location, the modality and the submodality, or the submodalities, plural, all the different qualities of that feeling. You see, that wasn't difficult, was it? Even on that remembering and visualization. Again, it doesn't matter if you don't see yourself or look through your own eyes and see the memory in 20/20 vision. As long as you're aware, that's where you are. That's good enough for me. So it's from like zero awareness to total 20/20 vision awareness. It's all working. And you changed anyway. You felt the difference, so it must have been working. But here's the thing, what you may not know is that every emotion has to move. I don't know why I went like that, move. You see, they move in like a circle. They start from somewhere, they go away, and then they come back. So if you could imagine, if you were just to point with your finger towards your chest, just as an example, and you went and turned your finger in a clockwise direction, that might be the direction your feelings go. It could go the other way, anti-clockwise. It could go forward to back or back to forward or any way. But they all move, because when they don't move, you don't have the feeling. Now the thing is, when you notice, because it's another like a submodality, isn't it? The direction of that feeling. If it was to stop, that feeling would dissipate. But the question is, something to ponder, we're going to do it in a minute. What would happen if not only did you stop the direction of that movement of the feeling, but you got it to change direction? What do you think might happen? That's a technical pause for you to think about it. But if it's going one way, and if you stop it, it dissipates. But if you turn it the other way, doesn't that mean it's going to be maybe not quite the opposite, but it's going to be something really good, from negative to the flip side? And you see, that's what we're going to do. And I'll tell you, I did this with my mother. God bless her. She's not with us anymore, not with me. But before she passed, she wasn't that well. She used to get these bad feelings, but they were like anxiety, because she was in hospital once. And she said, Paul, every time the doctors come round, the surgeons come round, they bring with them a whole trail of trainee surgeons or doctors. And she said, I don't mind them. I know they've got to learn, but it does worry me so much. And I get tongue-tied. I can't explain what I feel, because I've got all these eyes burning in on me. Can you help me? And I worry about it. So I showed her what we're going to do about finding the feeling, changing the direction, or slowing it down, changing the direction, and actually change the colour. And when she did that, she said, oh, it's completely different. So the weird thing was, weird and funnily weird, was when she was in hospital and the surgeon would come round with his gaggle of mini surgeons, mini doctors. He'd say, hi, Mrs. Cloughie, I just want to have a chat with you. And she'd say, well, just one moment. Can you just give me a moment? Because I just want to know where my feeling is. Now I'm going to stop it and turn it the other way around. And now I'm going to change the colour so I can be calm and comfortable. And she would do this thing with her hands, flip it over to change the direction, change the colour, and she'd go, okay, I'm ready to talk now because I'm comfortable. And then they were going, I don't know what you did, but it's fine. And it just worked for her. Now, if it works for Mum, it works for everyone, because she was pretty sceptical. But it works. It just blooming works. And just as a note, I did not invent this. I don't know who invented it. And there's so many people who lay credit to finding this out. I don't care. I don't care who did it. I just know it works. And sometimes each individual therapist or NLP practitioner, master practitioner or trainer will change it with his own character. So mine, or the way I do it, might be slightly different to the way my sons do it or other people do it, but they all are doing the same basic principles. So here we go. Here's something that really, really convinces you. Now, I want you to think of something in the past that you were anxious about. And a 5 out of 10. No more. Because, you see, you need to learn on something which is pretty easy, but not too easy. So you know that there's a difference when it happens. Okay, so close your eyes. Again, make sure you're not driving and you're working machinery and all that stuff. And I'm not your therapist. I'm a therapist, but not yours. All that stuff. But it's only visualization we're doing. So make sure you're going to be okay. Safety, please. And if you can close your eyes, you don't have to, but it's good to close your eyes because it allows you to focus. Bring to mind that memory. And sometimes you might just imagine seeing a movie screen in front of you. And if you press play, you'd actually see that memory and see that you out there. This is a good way to start because it's a good transition. So you see that memory beginning to play of that thing that made you anxious or you were anxious in. And then you'd imagine floating into that you on the screen. So you're now in the memory. And as you do that, notice what you see, what you hear, and that feeling of, was it fear, anxiety, whatever it was. And as you do that with your dominant hand, and I say dominant because it's easier to do, point it at the location of that feeling. And then just imagine and ask even your unconscious mind, what direction does it move? And allow your finger in that arm and that hand to begin to move the way you intuitively feel it. Doesn't matter if you don't even get it right, because we can change it. Don't worry. Just go with your intuition. Just trust. And when you start moving, don't move it fast, just nice and slow. And when you think you've got that direction, nice and slow, I want you to imagine this. Imagine me taking your hand and speeding that up a little bit, just a little bit more. Now, by speeding it up just a little, if we've got the direction right, that feeling will become slightly more intense, slightly stronger. If that's the case, you've got it. So you've got that direction. So slow it down and just remember it. If you haven't got it, just change your perception of that direction and then speed that up. And then if you speed that up just a little bit, it gets more intense, you've got it. Now, when you've got that direction, just say to yourself, what color is this? And have a color come to mind, just like that. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you with your hand pointing at that location, moving in the direction that you know it goes now. But imagine pulling your hand and arm away from your body, as if you're pulling that feeling out of your body, spinning that way, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and flip it to spin the other way. So it's going the opposite rotation, the opposite way. And I want you to change that color into something like, what's the color of confidence? What's the color of peace? What's the color of being comfortable? Any one of those. And change it to that feeling, change it to that color. And as you do, with your arm, pull it back into the body, into the same location, but it's now spinning the opposite direction with a completely different color. And as you do that, notice what happens to that feeling. Yeah, I know, it's gone, isn't it? And here's the thing. Just rewind that movie and now press play again. And imagine going through this memory with the feeling going this way round, this opposite way round, with this new color, the color of comfortable, confidence, or whatever it was. And notice how much different that memory could have been, may have been, if you'd have had this emotion, this feeling. It's amazing because I know it'll be different. It'll be better. Now, just come back to me, open your eyes. And here's the thing. Did we change the intention of your unconscious mind to protect you? No, not one bloody iota. We kept the intention. We didn't even talk about intention. So the intention must have stayed the same. But did it feel better the second way? Absolutely. So now your unconscious mind has, well, a choice. Does it want to do the old way that didn't feel good, or does it want to start to use this new way? And automatically, when you come to a situation like that in the future, or you think about a situation like that in the future, you'll automatically get that feeling going the other way, in that color of comfort, of confidence, of high self-esteem, or whatever you think you need. And there you go. Your unconscious mind can choose, because who did that? Yeah, I knew the process. You did it though. So you're the person who did it. You're the person who can change in a moment. So at any time, you can practice for the future. So if you're thinking of something which is a little bit frightening, or a little bit scary, a little bit anxious, or you're anxious about, notice where the feeling is. Notice which way it turns. Notice its color. Take it outside your body. Flip it the other direction. Change the color into, well, an emotion the color of the emotion you think it would be better, and pull it back, and then just go bloody do the stuff. You've got it in your body, you're spinning the other way in that lovely color, and just start thinking about that other thing differently. And even in the moment, just like mum, you could do that. You have a feeling, you don't know why, maybe, but just go into that feeling. Notice the location. Notice which way it moves, and notice its color. Pull it outside your body, flip it over, change the color, pull it back. Within 60 seconds, you have changed your emotion. And the most important thing is, you have changed the emotion. And when you start to look at new things differently, because of this different state you're in, you'll see them differently, and you'll be able to access the skills you need to carry out whatever you need to do in that future now, as it were. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And then boom, you've got a new me. And you can do this as many times as you like with anything. Get into the habit of it. And what you'll find is the more you practice, because practice makes what? No, it doesn't make perfect. It makes permanent. So good practice makes good permanent. Your unconscious mind tends to then go, do you know what? Let's create this as a habit, because it's getting my intention, keeping them safe, getting all the possibilities, the wonderful things that happen to them, make them feel good. And it'll become a habit. So you do it a few times. You'll have to do it a few times just to get used to it. Maybe that's a trigger for your unconscious mind, just pointing at that feeling, that location. And that's what you do. Change the way you feel in 60 seconds. And you can say sometimes when you do this, I wonder what you, my unconscious mind, could learn from this. The learnings from which will allow me to be so much more safer in the future. This or something better. Hey, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoy having like mini processes within a podcast. I don't think there's too many people who do it. I know one or two, and some of them are related to me, funny enough, because we like doing this stuff and we like giving people the hows, not just the whats and leave you dangling. No dangling here, as they say. No room for a dangle. So, let me know, if you would, very quickly on an email, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com, and just notice or tell me what you noticed differently. And then you might form a question, say, well, I've got this to do. Can I do it for this? Or can you come up with a process for that? And I will. So there's an offer to you to let me know how you got on, but also let me know how we can develop it together just for you. Just you, no one else. And we'll have great fun. Now, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is, would you please share this? Because I'm sure you're subscribed. So I don't need to have to say that to you. And I'm sure that you're going to send that email in, so I don't have to say that to you again. But hopefully you've got a app of choice for your podcast, and you'll listen to it. Well, just look up there and it'll have subscribe or follow. I think the new words is follow. Click on that and you'll get the episodes come up every week. And when the 5-minute quickies come up in between, you'll get those as well. So you get all of that. And I think that's about it. Obviously, if you wanted to, there's personaldevelopmentunplugged.com, which is where you can actually get that email address, and you can also join. I just noticed the other day that I've still got it on there, that after about 10 seconds, you get a little drop-down menu. Would you like access to the free hypnosis track? So you could do that. That's personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. So there you go. And if you want anything from paulcloughonline.com, have a look there too. But that's overload again, isn't it? The most important thing is to share this with at least one person, if you could. Because I don't think I said that, did I? That was the one thing I want you to do, is to share this with one person. I know you're going to say, well, one person's only one person. I could do it with multiple, but I don't want you to do it to too many. Or do I? But to share. Share is good. Selfless service. And everyone gets to enjoy good feelings and change negative feelings in 60 seconds. So it was possible, wasn't it? Yeah. It's amazing what you can learn. And all you've got to do now is use what you learn and share what you learn, and your life will be different. Anyway, that's it from me. I'm going to go on my way, and I'll see you the next time. So, my friend, as usual, it's time to fly.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.